We've been peppering you with questions.
Keep them coming, man.
Put yourself in the shoes of a listener. There's two random strangers that they don't know anything about. Ask me and Matt one question in the role of your listener.
In the role of all right, first time, long time. Okay. This is going to be hard. Okay. What do I ask you two? What do you think? Okay. So
what do you think that they think that you think would be asked?
Yeah. What questions would you think that they think that I would anticipate them anticipating me asking you?
And now we have entered the inception portion here of the Georgia Dogs podcast.
Absolutely. No. Okay. So you look at Georgia's schedule, and you look at some of the East opponents. You've got Devin Leary at Kentucky. You've got Matt's Graham Mertz at Florida. You've got Spencer Rattler at South Carolina. Of course, Tennessee is, they're now in the upper echelon. They're back in the upper echelon of the conference. On Georgia's schedule, outside of Tennessee and Ole Miss, what road games do you guys think would give Georgia the most fits?
Road games?
I don't think
not road games, just remaining games. I meant to say remaining games.
Remaining games, I've come to respect Kentucky a lot in the past half decade, especially. And I will never take Kentucky lightly. Especially with I think they have an upgrade at quarterback. I thought Levis was not good last year. He was
downright terrible, actually.
He was like,
he couldn't do anything in the bowl against Iowa. Oh, he didn't play.
Well,
they played their third stringer.
You know what? I don't want to completely ruin our SEC preview show that we're doing next week on Illegal Motion, but I will say for me it's Kentucky or Georgia Tech's not going to be back yet, but it's got to be Kentucky because I don't believe in UAB. I think South Carolina is getting a little bit too big for their britches. Their football team is not as good as their social media team. Their social media team
incredible.
Might be the best in the country. I think they've taken the mantle from LSU and is now firmly placed in Columbia, South Carolina. I think they're pretty daggum solid.
And
it's not Vandy, even though Coach, you will get my Vandy tickets this year. Living here in Nashville.
How much do you charge Coach for them?
I make Coach
Coke and a popcorn.
No, it's buffalo chicken dip. I make Mrs. Coach make me buffalo chicken dip.
There you go.
So
it's a good trade-off.
And plus, Josh, that weekend is the Iowa game, with Wisconsin, Iowa, and I'll be in Madison for it. So
there we go.
So yeah, I guess I'll say Kentucky is the one that would worry me the most, besides the two obvious ones.
All right. Well, we're gonna get good podcast then, because I would actually take the Gamecocks, and the reason is
that is a home game for Georgia.
Yeah. Well. So out of the remaining games, we don't have.
What are we gonna say? At the cocktail party's neutral site at Auburn? Yeah. Like, Auburn doesn't scare me at all.
That's the first hostile environment that Carson Beck will face, though. That's the only thing that. I know, but
Peyton Thorne is starting for Auburn, dude. Peyton Thorne is starting for Auburn. He was trash at Michigan State. He's gonna be even way worse against the ACC. Against the SEC.
Here's why it is South Carolina. Georgia gets to have a snooze cakewalk against UT Martin, and then a cupcake.
We're blacking out that game.
Cupcake against Ball State.
That was supposed to be Oklahoma.
Yeah, so they're going to be untested.
Very much so.
And then they get South Carolina.
We're going to kick a lot of field goals to get Jared Zirkle ready for that game.
South Carolina opens with a pretty solid Tar Heel team. Mm-hmm. They'll get to figure out their pass defense pretty quickly against Drake May. And even if they lose that game, say it goes horribly wrong for them, they get completely embarrassed, they then get to host Furman.
The Mighty Paladins.
And figure out all the stuff that went wrong against North Carolina. So the Gamecocks have a genuine test against the Tar Heels, and it's not a road game. It's a neutral site game in Charlotte. It'll be well attended by both schools, but they'll have the experience of going to a different city, staying in a different hotel. They'll get some of that road game experience and against a decent opponent. So, just in terms of like battle testedness, South Carolina will be more so than Georgia.
That's fair.
We'll still probably lose big time.
That's fair. I mean, South Carolina always has the capability of getting 50 burgered by Georgia, like they did last year, where it was all. Do you remember the hype around that game last year?
I do.
Spencer Rattler.
I was getting ready for Iowa State.
Heisman hopeful, and Stetson Bennett just goes in and just 55 burgers him. I think he left some dude's jock strap. Like he juked him so hard. Like he just. I think he left his like knee joint over here and his like ankle joint on the 5, and like his wrist was over there in 10 yards deep in the goal line. Like I think he shook the dude so bad all his extremities just exploded. I mean, it was bad. So yeah, I don't know. Like that game, because it's the second game of the year or third game of the year. It's always the first conference game that we play. That game always scares me. Some years it's like, why was I even afraid? And other years it was like, holy cow, we're terrible. Like, and some of those years was just like, holy cow, we're terrible. And some of those years were like the Spurrier years were like, oh God, he's got South Carolina going, man. Like he's got them doing something here. This is not an easy game, but I don't know. Like I think South Carolina's over their skis a little bit right now.
Okay, Coach. Then I guess last question here before we wrap up from me. Last year, Brock Bowers had 9 carries for 109 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Love it, dude.
Well, Brock Bowers.
He'll be the leading rusher in a ball game at some point.
So A, will he be the leading rusher in any ball game? B, will he get more than 3? Like 3 rushing touchdowns is a lot for a tight end. Will he have more than 3 rushing touchdowns this year? And how many total rushing yards will he have? Give me Brock Bowers' finished rushing stat line for the year.
I think he gets 4 because we play some cupcakes, and he'll take a jet sweep to the house in 4 of those games. The fact that we're running jet sweep, under center jet sweep to a tight end is ridiculous in and of itself. I think he'll have, I don't know, $125, $130 on the ground. He'll score 4 touchdowns. Like he'll get down there in a tight red zone. He'll score like a 10-yard jet sweep.
I mean, he averaged more than 12 yards a carry last year and 14 yards a carry as a freshman. So
one of those, I think one of those jet sweeps was a significant one. I think it was one against Kent State, I believe. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, I think it was the first touchdown against Kent State. Took a jet sweep like 65 yards to the house. I was like, oh my God. I was like, really? This is bad. Like he did that to Vanderbilt too.
Well, I've got a bold prediction. After years of hearing run the damn ball, Mike Bobo is going to give Bauer 30 touches against UT Martin. He's going to have 250.
Just going to line them up in the I formation, just pound the rock, man. Get the ball to your best player.
Well, Bowers did have a 75-yard touchdown run against Kent State last year, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns against Kent State last year. So that's he also had a 2-yarder.
Nice. Too bad we can't play Kent State again to get some.
Kent State's going to be so bad this year.
They're going to be really bad.
Like they're not like that's not a helpful game for the Dogs. Like the Dogs schedule, Corey, I love.
I mean, but is Ball State a helpful game?
No, that's the thing. Like none of these games are helpful games. Like it is a piss.
Are you doubting the fighting men from Muncie?
I am. I'm doubting the fighting David Lettermans.
Yes, exactly. The fighting Lettermans.
This schedule. I mean, it was originally supposed to be Oklahoma, and that the whole conference realignment thing screwed that one up. But because I think it wasn't necessarily this year's game. It was the fact that the return trip, we couldn't make the return trip because it originally was supposed to be an out of conference return trip like 2 years later. And they're like, nah, they're going to be in conference then. So we're just going to cancel the series and wait till you wait.
Could have had one of those awkward in conference, but not a conference games.
Yeah. They couldn't agree to play at a neutral site, or they couldn't they couldn't do the terms. So they had to cut it. And Ball State was the only one that was willing to pick up the phone and take this game.
to get paid enough for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What was the check for that? $1.5 million, $2 million, something like that.
Probably 1.5. If I would guess. Yeah, it's probably something stupid.
All right, excellent.
Well, that's gonna wrap us up here. I know, Matt. I'm a teacher and I'm hanging on by a thread. So you're probably hanging on by a thread. And Josh, I think y'all started school yet?
Oh, it's PD week, and so we had a team building activity.
Trust fall?
No, we rode some buses and went to Notre Dame's campus to walk around.
Oh, that's right. You almost bought me something.
I know. I wanted to buy you a Play Like a Champion.
If you would have got that for me, I would have put it up on my wall.
I know your number one team are the Dogs. I mean, that's a given. I know your number two team's the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, number two teams.
And I know
Yellow Jackets.
No, Notre Dame.
Three's the Gators.
No, number three's the Irish.
Number three's the Irish. Number four is USC.
Wait, where did the Vols fall into all of this?
They got bumped down to number 5.
Come on,
Thanks to Georgia Tech, they got bumped down to number 5. Yeah.
Come on, don't kid. He doesn't like the Volunteers.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, this is
all right. Well, thanks for having us on, and
I'm glad.
Hope Israel's back and strong and good to go for your next show.
He will be. He's just getting used to the kids being back at school.
When does your season start?
We start tomorrow as we record tonight. We start against Union City. We travel to Union City, and if you know where Union City is, I'll be impressed.
It's in the tip of Tennessee. It's in the very, very upper tip in the triangle.
Josh, you could actually come watch this game, and I don't think it'd be that much of a trip for you.
Yeah, it's up there in the northwest corner of Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm like
the opposite.
I'm like damn near in Illinois. I'm like right there. I'm closer to like that game where we'll be tomorrow night will be closer to St. Louis than it is Nashville.
Well,
pretty crazy. So yeah, that's where we start. And Israel's going to be defending his state championship. I think they don't play till next week though. I think they start a week after us. I think they open with Bleckley County or Appling County, something like that. He's defending state champion down at Ware County. So his team is actually, so get this before we let you go. His team is actually the Gators, right? They're the Ware County Gators because they're in the swamp. It's probably one of the most appropriately named schools out there because they're in the swamp. They're actually in the swamp. So they're the Gators. And so he posted some pictures of like his kids at like their picture day. And they had like his daughter had like the little, she's like 3 years old. She had like the little Gators cheerleading outfit on, and his son had like the Ware County jersey. It said Gators on it, but the colors are green and gold, right? So he tweets a picture of it and he said, "Can't wait for them Friday nights." And you know what like the first 3 comments were?
Florida fans.
No, they were like, "Cute kids, but I didn't know you were a Gator fan," or something like that. They're like thinking he was a Gator fan. And he was like, "It's not even the same color."
They could have all 3 been colorblind. You never know.
And I've said Friday nights. That was the other clue.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway there.
Unless Florida's going to be playing on a bunch of Friday nights.
That's the only night that
the ACC
that Mertz plays well.
God,
that's also true. As someone who's watched every snap of his collegiate career, I can say that with unless it's against Illinois. Well, let's say it's his home opener against Illinois. Yeah, it's not.
I hope to God that game was played on a Friday. We'll make the joke even better.
It was during the COVID season, so like there was just like no like days and time had no concept. It was November.
He's only good when there's a global pandemic and no one in the crowd.
Yeah, that's about right.
And it's the opener, and like no one's practiced yet.
Georgia, coach, like the Dogs are going to have like 6 interceptions, like 6 there's going to be 6 turnovers by Graham Mertz in that game. It's going to be.
Is he going to be able to throw the ball enough to get us 6 interceptions? He's going to be sacked a ton.
He's going to fumble a lot.
Yeah, like I think he's going to just.
That's why I said
he's going to be getting ragdolled.
I said 6 turnovers.
I don't even think he's going to throw any interceptions because he get ragdolled.
Yeah, we'll see
knock him out of the game. It'll be Jack Miller throwing passes halfway through that game.
I mean, oh God,
I don't think Graham Mertz makes it to the Georgia game.
Ooh, there's a fun prediction to end on.
I don't think he does. I really don't. Like,
all right,
it's going to be a rough go. I really don't think he does. And I think you would agree. But hey, like I said, we are the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network. Follow us at Believe in Dogs on all social media. Follow me at Coach Burton36. Go check out Israel Troop at Troopstar28. You can follow my two friends here at Perko. And Josh Cook at Big10andcounting.com. If you're interested in Big Ten football, I've always said on all of my shows that if you want to follow a Big Ten team, you should follow the Wisconsin Badgers. So that's my Big Ten team in honor of my man right here, Matthew Perkins. So we hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like, find us, stick around. Follow us on YouTube for all the great content that's about to come with me and Israel as we go throughout, as we navigate this season, this 2023 season, and in quest of a three-peat. So for Matthew Perkins and Josh Cook, I'm Corey Burton. We will see you back here next week. And until then, as always, you guys know the drill. It's Go Dogs.
I'll say it for you tonight, Coach. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Sing 'em.